Despite being raised in a narcissistic family and always being treated absolutely horribly by them, because I wanted to be a family, I endured a great deal more than I should have ever allowed. And it really led to just a lot more abuse, physical and psychological. You see, as an empath, I always felt guilty for the horrible ways my family abused me and would be more loving, more kind to them. And I realize now when you deal with narcissists and they treat you horribly and you do that, it's actually rewarding them and they view it as being rewarded. They will actually continue to abuse you, and through time, it will actually get worse. In this case, I'm going to talk about my sister. I have two sisters. I have my half sister, who is related on my dad's side, but not my mother. And she's never really reached out to me or anything. She's not really family to me at all. Um, she destroyed her children's lives, which are just terrible. And, I have a nephew and a niece, and I never got to be an uncle to them, which I would have been an amazing uncle. To be honest with you, if I had got to have that opportunity to be their uncle, there's a lot of other things in life that I spent my time doing to protect others that put me in a great deal of risk that I paid the price for that I never would have done because I had no one to have to look up to me. You see, I really needed that. She took that away from me. Then I have my sister who's full blooded and she's a psychopath as far as actual psychopathy. So bad that when she was seeing a psychologist, the psychologist told her that maybe she should commit herself for a little while. And she responded the way you'd expect a psychopath to reply, yelling at her, saying all these insults and everything. Came back home and bragged to me about all the terrible things she said to that psychologist. And I was thinking, I agree with that psychologist. You need to commit yourself. You know, you're a psychopath and you're a bad, evil person. But in this video, I want to touch on her and what it was like as a child to be raised around a psychopathic sister that our parents allowed her to do whatever she wanted and get away with everything she wanted. When my parents brought me home from the hospital and I was born a month and a half premature, they said that Nicole was so angry with them and wanted attention so bad that first she ignored them and she hated me and put her hand on the stove while it was on, looked right at my mom and went, burnt herself. Ah! My mom dropped everything. Poor baby, oh my god, my poor baby. And my mom said at that moment, when she saw my sister do that, and how she went so far to get attention from my parents, that she knew at that point she had to start giving her all the attention. That's a mind of an absolute nut, isn't it? Not to get her help, not to get her help or see a psychologist. No, no, no. What they thought would be best was to give her all the attention, and in order for her not to get jealous of me, for them to treat me horribly, and to allow her to abuse me and make her my master that I had to obey. As she is just over a year older than me. Or hold on. Oh no, no, it's a year and a half. I'm so sorry. A year and 8 months older than me. Now, psychologically, like most narcissists, she is like dealing with a child. And the reason why is narcissists, especially psychopaths and covert narcissists, where it's actual hardware, not software, their brains stop maturing when they're children. They get stuck at that point and they're not able to grow up. And that's why a lot of them, they're very unintelligent and they don't tend to be able to learn new things very well. Now, of course, just like with any mind, they can learn new things that they like, but they're not going to be able to learn to do things well. I won't get into all that. There's a big misconception because of Hollywood. A lot of people believe that psychopaths are more intelligent than your average person. That's not true. It should not have anything to do with IQ, but then the narcissist part, that does have to do with IQ. So they tend to be less intelligent. Go ahead and fact check me on all of this too. I would like it if someone brought some type of correction if I happen to be wrong about anything. I always like to learn that way, you know. So, as a baby, I would wake up my parents screaming in the middle of the night, and my mom would rush in there and see that I'd be bleeding because my sister Nicole will have pinched and put her fingernails all the way into my skin. Um, oof. My sister is like a demon. You see, when my mom told me that, I remembered the dreams I had of my sister, of me being a baby, and my sister going in the room and looking at me and having this smile while she is pinching me, putting her fingers into my skin, going with her like that, and then running back to her room. My mom, she would see these pinch marks all over me with the blood and ask my sister, "Did you pinch him?" It's like, "No. How'd those get here? I don't know how they got here." And my mom would just be like, "Oh, someday he's gonna grow up and he'll be able to protect himself from you." No punishment, nothing. Then it just became something that my mom got used to. It's like, well, Nicole's going to abuse and pinch and harm her brother. That's just life. Yeah. So, growing up was difficult because my sister always got extremely spoiled. And when it came to anything such as Christmas or birthdays, she always got everything she wanted and more, and I would just get okay stuff. Whenever I received gifts that were cool, that I liked, it came from other people, not my family. I remember I got a really cool toy for Christmas, and it was He-Man. Remember He-Man? It was a He-Man action figure, and I thought that was so cool. Now, I was not allowed to watch He-Man because my parents said that it was satanic cartoon, and I would become demon possessed if my eyes saw it. But I still thought the toy was cool. My mom took that toy from Christmas from me and took it to the store and got the money for it and bought herself makeup. So that's the type of person that was supposed to be protecting me from my abusive sister. And just for the record, I think this is funny. To this day, I know she still does. I haven't spoken to my parents in years. They say, "Where did we go wrong? Where did we go wrong? We did everything for them, Sam." Talking to my dad. It's a conversation she'd tell me that they did. Like that's just denial. You know exactly what you did wrong. You know exactly what you fucking did wrong. Everything. Everything. So anyway, my sister was allowed to go to school, so I would be home alone. It was difficult being raised without having siblings to play with or anything. I remember a couple of times when my sister and I would play with her toys in her room, and I wasn't allowed to play with the Barbie. My parents' orders. And she would get mad at me and yell at me and kick me out of her room because I did not follow the guideline of the storyline with the toys. So she would say something, hi Ken, blah blah blah, or hi G.I. Joe, blah blah blah. And I had to obey her on how I played and what I said back. Otherwise, she would throw a fit, lose her freaking mind. And my parents, instead of talking to her and correcting her, would support her and then yell at me. Just a little kid who wanted to be able to play with toys. I just wasn't allowed to play with toys because toys were not to play with. Toys were in order to follow the rules and do with them according to what my sister said, and I was obligated to obey her because it was about her playing with it and her having fun. And I was just there in order to do whatever she wanted me to do so she can continue having her fun. So it was a very difficult environment growing up. I was always confused. I did not understand these concepts as far as the toxic shame that I was bad because I was bad. Good, right or wrong had nothing to do with it, even though I was good and only good all the time. A very empathetic and very sensitive little boy and only wanted to help people. I was bad because God made me to be bad to go to hell. That was it. Actions did not matter. Unfortunately, this is just part one. I need to do a quality control check real quick. And yeah,